Spider-Man 2 Chapter 1 Late Again. She looks at me every day. Mary Jane Watson. Her picture is all over New York. I love her, but she doesn't know. She can never know. She can't be part of my life. Who am I? I'm Spider-Man, and I have an important job to do. I'm also Peter Parker, and I too have a job to do. Peter stopped his bike outside Joe's Pizza Bar. His boss, Mr. Aziz, was standing outside.
"Parker," he shouted. "You're late. Always late."
Mr. Aziz turned around. On the back of his t-shirt it said, 29 minutes or it's free. Peter followed Mr. Aziz inside the busy pizza bar.
"This order came in 21 minutes ago,"
Mr. Aziz explained, pointing at the Big Joe's Pizza's clock. He passed 8 pizza boxes to Peter.
"You've got 7.5 minutes, or you'll lose your job. Go!"
Peter rode his bike through the cars, taxis and buses on Manhattan's busy streets. He saw a clock on a street corner. 3 minutes to 2. He had just 3 minutes left. There was only one thing to do. He left his bike and ran into a small street. He quickly changed into his Spider-Man clothes. Then he shot a line of webbing and swung into the street. A man saw him and shouted, "Hey! Spidey's taken that guy's pizzas!" Some New Yorkers didn't like Spider-Man much. There were bad stories about him in the Daily Bugle, the city newspaper, nearly every day, and people believed them. Spider-Man swung from building to building. Not much time left. But then 2 young children ran out into a busy street. Peter put the pizza boxes on a building. He swung down and took the children in his arms. He pulled them to the other side of the street, just in time. The little boy and girl looked at him with big eyes. "No playing in the street," Spider-Man said to them. "Yes, Mr. Spider-Man," they answered. He collected the pizzas and went into an office building. It was 3 minutes past 2. "You're late," said the woman behind the desk. "I'm not paying for those." Peter lost his job at Joe's Pizza Bar, but he still had work at the Daily Bugle. He took pictures of Spider-Man for the newspaper. He went to see the top man at the paper, Jonah Jameson. Peter wanted to sell photos of other things, birds in the park, faces of interesting old men, but Jonah Jameson wasn't interested. "I only pay you because you take pictures of Spider-Man," he shouted. "Spider-Man won't let me take any more pictures," said Peter. "The city hates him because of you." "Well, I don't want your other pictures." "Okay," said Peter, and he pulled out a fantastic photo of Spider-Man. "I'll give you 150, said Jameson. 300, said Peter. Okay, said Jameson. "Go and see Betty." Peter went to get the money from Betty Brandt. Betty worked for Mr. Jameson. "You borrowed some money 2 weeks ago," she said kindly. "I can't give you any more. Sorry." "Oh no," thought Peter. "I'm late again." He ran to the university. He ran faster than any ordinary person. People were looking at him, but he didn't care. He turned a corner and ran into someone. Books and papers flew everywhere. Peter took the books and papers in his hands and stood up, right in front of his teacher. "Oh, Dr. Connors, sorry," he said. "Where were you going, Parker?" "To your class." "My class is over," said Dr. Connors. "Look at you, Peter. You're always late for class.
You're always so tired. Your homework on fusion is late." "I know," said Peter. "I'm planning to write my fusion homework on Dr. Otto Octavius." "Octavius is a friend of mine. Make sure it's good." It was dark when Peter arrived at Aunt May's house in Forest Hills. He walked into the living room. He was thinking about other things, and he didn't see Aunt May, MJ, and Harry standing there. Chapter 2. Happy Birthday. "Surprise!" they shouted. "What's happening?" asked Peter. "It's your birthday," said Aunt May. "Long time no see," said MJ. "MJ," said Peter, "how's the play?" "She's brilliant in it," said Harry. "Harry sent me flowers," said MJ quietly. She smiled at Peter, then she looked away. "I'll go and get the food." Peter turned to Harry. "So, how are things going at Oscorp?" he asked. "Great," said Harry. "I'm head of special ideas. We're doing some brilliant new work on fusion. Dr. Otto Octavius is working for us. Maybe you'd like to meet him." "Great! I'm writing about his work for Dr. Connors," Peter smiled. Then Harry's face changed. "MJ's waiting for you, Peter," he said. "The way she looks at you—" I don't have time for girls right now," said Peter. "I'm very busy." "Taking pictures of your friend Spider-Man?" asked Harry. "Can we talk about something else?" said Peter. "I want us to be friends, Harry." "If you know who he is, Peter, please tell me." Peter didn't answer. He couldn't answer. Harry's father died in a fight with Spider-Man, and Harry hated him. But Peter was Spider-Man. What could he do? Aunt May was asleep in a chair. There were some letters on the table. One was from the bank. It wasn't good news. Peter woke her. "What? Ben? Oh, Peter," she said. "Has everybody gone? Did they have a good time?" "I'm sure they did," Peter smiled. Then his face changed. "Aunt May, I saw the letter from the bank." "You did? Oh, well, I'm a little behind. I don't want to talk about it any more. I'm tired." She took $20 from her bag. "Happy birthday, Peter," she said. "Aunt May, I can't take this from you." "Yes, you can," she said angrily. "You can take this money from me. It's not much." Then she started crying. "I'm sorry. Life is so empty without your Uncle Ben. It's nearly 2 years since he died. Sometimes I think about his killer, and I want to do something terrible." Uncle Ben's killer was dead. The police didn't know that. Aunt May didn't know that. But Peter knew. He was there, and he saw everything. He looked at poor Aunt May, and he felt so bad. He wanted to tell her, but he couldn't. "Here," she said. "Take some birthday cake home." Before he went home, Peter went into Aunt May's garden. "Hey," said MJ. She was in her parents' garden next door. "I saw your picture on Bleecker Street," said Peter. "Oh, isn't it funny?" she said. MJ didn't like seeing her picture all around New York. "No, it's nice," he said. "I can see you every day now." He loved MJ, but he couldn't tell her. It wasn't fair. Anyone close to Spider-Man was always in danger. "Do you want to say something?" asked MJ. Are you still living in Manhattan?" "Oh, Peter," she said sadly. "I don't understand you." MJ walked back to the house. Then she turned. "I'm seeing someone now." "You mean a boyfriend?" Suddenly, Peter wanted to show MJ his feelings. "I'm going to come to your play tomorrow night." She was surprised. "You're coming?" "I'll be there," he said. Peter went home to his little room. It was at the top of an old house in Manhattan. Peter walked slowly up the stairs. "Money!" shouted Mr. Ditkovich. It was his house, and he lived on the floor below Peter. "Hi," said Peter. "What's hi? Can I spend it?" "Mr. Ditkovich, I'll get some more money this week." "You're a month late with the money for the room. Again." "But I only have this $20 for the week," Peter explained. Mr. Ditkovich took Peter's $20, his birthday money, and shut the door. Peter went into his cold little room and sat on the bed. Could things be any worse, he thought. Chapter 3. Fusion. Dr. Otto Octavius was working in a special room at home. It was in a lovely old building with big windows. Harry walked in, followed by Peter. Otto stopped his work and walked towards the two young men. He was a big man with a kind face. He smiled warmly at Harry, then turned towards Peter. "This is my good friend, Peter Parker," Harry explained. "I called you about him. I only got through my school science exams because of Peter." Peter smiled at Otto. "I'm studying your work at university," Peter said. "I have to go," Harry said, moving towards the door. "I've got an important meeting. I'll leave you two clever scientists together. And good luck tomorrow, Otto."
"Parker?" said Otto. "I remember now. You're Connor's student. He tells me you're brilliant, but lazy."
"I'm trying to do better," said Peter. Otto was serious now.
"Being brilliant isn't enough," he explained. "You have to work hard, and you must use science for the good of the world."
Otto showed Peter his work on fusion, a new kind of cheap energy. Enough energy for everyone in the world. Peter asked lots of intelligent questions. Later, after coffee, the two men were still talking about fusion. Otto's wife Rosie was there too. "Are you sure you can control the fusion reaction?" asked Peter at last.
"Peter, this is my life's work. The city isn't in danger."
"Otto's done his homework," said Rosie, and they all laughed. Chapter 4. An Empty Seat. MJ was finishing her makeup in the dressing room at the theatre. She looked at herself in the mirror. "Will he come?" she thought. A man's face appeared at the dressing room door. 5 minutes! 5 minutes! he called. Then he was gone. Peter was on his bike, and he was nearly at the theatre. Suddenly, a big car drove up behind him very fast. "Jump up!" his spider sense told him. Peter jumped high above the car. His bike fell under the car and broke into pieces. A moment later, he was standing safely on his feet again. "How did you do that?" asked a boy at the side of the road. "I do a lot of exercise," Peter said. "And I eat my green vegetables." "My mother always says that," said the boy. "I just never believed her." The big car was driving very fast up the road now. A gunman was shooting out of the back of the car at the police. "Why can't I have just one night off?" thought Peter. Suddenly, 2 police cars crashed into each other. One of the cars flew up high above some people. They cried out as the car fell towards them. But then it stopped still. It didn't hit the people. Everyone looked at the car above them. Something was holding the car there. "It's a web," said a woman. Suddenly, something blue and red swung over their heads. Go, Spidey, go! The woman shouted. The men in the big car saw him. They both started shooting at Spider-Man. Peter was really angry. He wanted to be at the theatre. He jumped onto the back of the car. He shot webbing at the two men, then pulled them out of the car. Next, he pulled the webbing over a streetlight, and the men were hanging high above the road. Peter jumped into the driver's seat and drove the car to the theatre. MJ wasn't having a good night. She wasn't thinking about the play. She was thinking about one of the best seats in the theatre, Peter's seat. It was empty. Peter walked into the theatre and pulled his ticket from his pocket. He showed it to the man at the door. "Sorry," said the man. He pointed to a sign. "You can't go in when the doors are closed," he explained. Peter crossed the road and waited opposite the theatre. MJ came out after the play. She looked up and down the street. No Peter. "Could you sign here, please?" said a good-looking young man. "What are you doing here?" smiled MJ. It was John, MJ's new boyfriend. He put his arms around her, and they kissed. A police car drove by fast, then another, and another. "Are you hungry?" John asked. "Yes," smiled MJ. "Very." On the other side of the road, Peter watched sadly as MJ and John hurried away. Then he remembered the police cars. "Why do I always have to rescue people from fires and criminals?" he thought. "I only wanted one evening at the theatre." He changed his clothes in a small street. He ran up the side of a building and jumped onto the roof. For the first time ever, he didn't want to do it. But he was Spider-Man. He had to do it. Soon, he was swinging from building to building towards the police cars. He brought his arm around to shoot a line of webbing. But nothing happened. Spider-Man was high above the street with no webbing. "Ah!" he cried as he crashed down onto a building below. He stood up slowly and looked down. Then he looked at his hands and tried to shoot some webbing. Nothing. "What's happening to me?" he thought. 5 minutes later, he was in a lift. A man with a dog got in. "Cool Spidey clothes," the man said. "Thanks," said Peter. All through Dr. Connor's class, Peter thought about MJ. After the class, he phoned her from the university. There was no answer, so he left a message. "Hi, MJ, this is Peter. I was on my way to your show, and, well, I was on my bike. Are you there? I've been thinking about it all day and—" Click. The phone cut off. Peter didn't have any more money, but he continued. "I want to tell you the truth," he said. "Here it is. I am Spider-Man. So, I can't be with you. A lot of people want to kill me. I can't put you in danger. I think about you every day. I really want to tell you, but I can't." MJ wasn't going to hear the last bit. Peter knew this, but he wanted to say it anyway. Chapter 5. The Metal Arms. About 40 visitors waited excitedly in Otto's big room. Harry and Peter were there. "Welcome, everyone," said Otto. "You are the first people ever to see fusion energy. It's safe, and we can make it again and again. It's cheap, too. Cheap electricity for everyone." Otto moved across the room towards 4 big metal arms. "Ooh," everyone said, as Otto fitted the arms onto his back. "It's not possible to control the fusion reaction with my hands, so I use these metal ones. I control them with my brain," he explained. "Dr. Octavius," asked one of the visitors, "is there a danger the arms can control you?"
Good question, said Otto. My brain is safe because of this microchip at the back of my head. He turned and showed them. I control the arms, he said. They don't control me. Otto walked to the back of the room. Blue lights went on, and there was Otto's fusion reactor. The metal arms moved. They lifted up a very small piece of tritium. There are less than 12 kilos of tritium in the world, he explained. I want to thank Harry Osborn and Oscorp for giving me this tritium.
Happy to pay the bills, Otto, called Harry.
Otto turned to smile at his wife, Rosie. This was his big moment. He started the reaction. The tritium started to go round very fast. Suddenly it changed into a small ball of fire. It started to grow. The light was very strong. The visitors couldn't believe it. The energy of the sun was in the room in front of them. Otto used the metal arms to control the reaction. Lines of fire shot from the fireball. The arms stopped each one and pushed it back to the centre. The arms moved faster and faster, and the light became stronger and stronger. But then something happened. The reactor started to pull some of the metal things in the room into its centre. Lines of fire shot everywhere. Otto was losing control. People shouted and tried to escape. Harry's face was white. He turned towards Peter, but Peter wasn't there. "Turn it off!" shouted Harry. "Turn it off!" "Wait!" shouted Otto. "I can control it!" A big metal cupboard was flying towards Harry, but suddenly Spider-Man appeared. He caught Harry and pulled him away from danger. For a moment, Spider-Man and Harry were face to face, but Harry still hated Spider-Man. "This doesn't change anything," Harry said. But Spider-Man didn't have time to talk. He ran around the walls to the reactor. He tried to pull the cables out of the wall. "What are you doing?" shouted Otto. "I'm trying to stop the reaction," answered Spider-Man. One of Otto's metal arms hit Spider-Man. But at that moment, the big windows in the room broke into 1,000 pieces. Metal and glass flew fast towards Otto and Rosie. The metal arms moved in front of Otto's body. He was safe. But Rosie fell to the floor. "Rosie!" shouted Otto. Then a line of fire from the reactor hit Otto in the back. He fell to the floor. Smoke came out of the microchip. Spider-Man pulled and pulled. Finally, the cables came out of the wall. The reactor stopped. The lights went out. Everything went quiet. Otto's body showed signs of life. They took him to hospital, but it was too late for Rosie. Harry stood in the street outside. His car was waiting, but he didn't get in. "I've lost everything," he said. "I've nothing, except Spider-Man." "But he saved your life," said one of the Oscorp men. "He made me look stupid today. He'll pay for this." Harry got in his car and left. Chapter 6. Doc Ock. Otto was on a big table in the hospital theatre. The doctors were ready. "Okay," said Dr. Isaacs. "We need to take off these metal arms." He moved towards the first metal arm with a knife. But then he stopped. The arm was looking at him. Then suddenly the arm hit Dr. Isaacs very hard. He flew across the room and crashed through a window. Then the arms turned to the other doctors and killed them too. Otto woke up and looked around. He was in a hospital theatre, and then he saw bodies. blood and glass everywhere. "No!" he cried. All this was his fault. The arms were killers, and he couldn't stop them. Otto tried to stand. The arms helped him. 2 of the arms became legs. They walked out of the hospital and into the road. A taxi was going to crash into them, but the arms hit the taxi and it turned over. They went down to the Hudson River. There they found an empty old building above the water. The arms had some dark plans. This was a great place to make them real. "Everyone's talking about it," cried Jonah Jameson in his office at the Daily Bugle. "A crazy scientist with 4 metal arms. What do we call him?" he shouted. "Dr. Octopus?" said one of his men. "Dr. Octopus. Doc Ock. I love it." Betty Brant brought Peter into the office. "Where have you been?" Jameson shouted. "There's a crazy scientist in town, and we have no pictures. You've lost your job." "Boss, the planetarium party?" said Betty. "Oh, OK, Parker, I need you. There's a big party for an American hero. My son." "Could you pay me now?" asked Peter. Jameson laughed loudly. Then he looked at Peter again and laughed some more. "Ha ha ha ha! Planetarium tomorrow night, 8 o'clock. Goodbye." Down on the river, Otto was sitting all alone. "My Rosie's dead," he said. "My dream is dead." He looked down sadly at the water. "Something is talking in my brain," he thought. He put his hand to the back of his head. The microchip was gone. "Peter was right," Otto said. "I couldn't control the reaction." But then the voice in his brain got louder. "It was working," it said. "We can build the reactor again." "Yes," said Otto. "We'll build again. We need money. We will take money. It's a crime not to finish our work." The arms were taking control of his brain now. "The energy of the sun in my hands," cried Otto. "Nothing will stand in our way. Nothing." "No," said the man at the bank. "We can't lend you any money." "I see," said Aunt May. She smiled, but she sounded tired and old. Peter took her hand. "Don't worry. We'll find a way," he said. But then, "Oh no," he thought. His spider sense woke up. Doc Ock arrived at the bank. He was wearing a big coat and dark glasses. He wanted money too, but he wasn't going to ask for it. The long arms came out of his coat. They pulled off a big metal door at the back of the bank. They threw the door across the bank towards Peter and Aunt May. Peter ran to change his clothes. "Don't leave me," called Aunt May. Spider-Man ran around the walls behind Doc Ock. The arms threw bags of money at him. Peter tried to shoot some webbing, but nothing happened. A bag of money hit Peter and he fell to the floor. The metal arms lifted him up. 2 metal hands pushed down on his head. Now Peter was angry. He shot webbing to the right and left. He pulled 2 heavy desks fast towards Ock. Doc Ock and a desk crashed through the bank window. People on the street outside cried out. At that moment, 2 police cars arrived. The police jumped out and pointed their guns at Ock. A metal arm moved towards a crowd of people and took a woman in its hand. It was Aunt May. She had an umbrella in her hand, and she hit Ock with it. "Don't follow me," Ock shouted, and he ran up the side of a high building. The police couldn't shoot at Ock because he had Aunt May in his arms. Spider-Man was waiting near the top of the building. "Give her to me," he said. At first, Ock lifted Aunt May up to Spider-Man, but then he opened his metal hand. Now Aunt May was falling fast. In a moment, Spider-Man shot webbing at Aunt May and stopped her fall. Ock hit Spider-Man, and Aunt May swung back up. She hung onto the building with her umbrella. Ock and Spider-Man fought up and down the building. Ock threw Spider-Man through a window of a building across the street. Peter shot webbing at both sides of the window. He pulled back on the webbing and fired himself across to Ock and Aunt May. Ock held Aunt May behind his back. A long knife came out of one of the arms. Suddenly, Aunt May swung her umbrella into Ock's face. His dark glasses broke, and he cried out. He dropped Aunt May again, but Spider-Man shot 2 lines of webbing down to Aunt May and quickly caught her. He swung down to the street and put her down very carefully. Aunt May wasn't in danger now, so the police started to shoot at Ock. But Ock went higher up the building and escaped over the roof.